What's going on, all you Spider-Men and women enthusiasts out there? Your two favorite web shooters are back tonight, and we're here to talk about this year's first box office flop. We're talking about the Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney starring Into the Spider-Verse. We're talking about Madame Webb.
Now, you're showing off. Maybe a little.
That's right, S.J. Clarkson's brand new film. They were talking about this, greenlit it back in 2020 during the pandemic, went through a lot of reshoots, and now we have the final product just hitting cinemas across the world. And man, people are hating on this, critics alike. And I can see why. Me and this guy just watched this movie today, and it was one of the most painful movies I've had to sit through in 2024 thus far.
Oh, it's a disaster from beginning to end. Believe us. But anyways, we will review it for you and let you know like why exactly it was like this. Because going into this, I had zero expectations. I figured it wasn't going to be that great, but I didn't expect the level of bad that it turned out to be. Ugh. But it had some talent in it. It had something going for it in the beginning. It had Adam Scott there as Ben, Dakota Johnson. I'm not really a big fan of Sydney Sweeney, who's having a rising career now in a lot of films. So there you go. It's enough to get me in. So started watching it, and it begins back in the 70s in the jungles of Peru, where you have Carrie Bish from *Halt and Catch Fire* playing this, looked like a scientist in the jungle studying some spiders in Peru there in the jungle. And, she comes across an exotic looking spider, probably a new species. And then you have somebody who's basically with her that ends up kind of backstabbing her. Something happens, and that's where we kind of meet up with the character that Dakota Johnson plays, Cassandra. And that was her mom, who that flashback was back in the 70s. And it's all about her being born from these spider people, as they're called in the beginning.
Yeah, they're like weird, creepy spiders that run up the trees. And like fast forward 30 years later, and she's a paramedic in New York City, and then she gets in this accident basically that kicks off these powers that she didn't know she had. She's clairvoyant, psychic. She can see the future essentially, and she starts seeing things happening, which sets up the three younger characters in this film: Julia Cornwall, Anya Corzon, and Maddie Franklin. And basically, she can see they're in trouble. They meet on the train, and that's kind of sets up the relationship of sorts. She's like the mom figure, Madame Webb, but she can see the future and see this bad guy coming at them, and she's trying to protect them.
Yeah, you pretty much told the whole plot here. It's a lot of, bits and pieces of her, predicting the future and thinking of what's going to happen, and then just a lot of things happening on the screen, but nothing feels linear in the film here. It's not shot very well. The story isn't very coherent at all. It cuts back and forth between characters you haven't even met yet or introduced to. They're doing things in the movie and making things happen, and a movie shouldn't be this complicated to watch, especially if it's in the Spider-Man universe and they're trying to launch maybe a new franchise here with some younger characters that are going to eventually, obviously play the Spider-Woman in these films. It doesn't do a good job of setting things up. We do get Adam Scott there as Ben, who is a paramedic with Dakota Johnson's character. So it's kind of cool what ends up happening to, with his character, kind of predictable just based on his name. We'll leave it at that. But he's really the best part of the movie. I mean, Adam Scott, it's like he kind of signed up for the movie probably without reading the script, because if he would have read the script, he would have realized that this had absolutely nothing going for it. Like, I wasn't even sure what was going on when it happened. Like, they go into a diner in the beginning, and towards the middle of the film, I guess it is, and then she comes into contact with Sydney Sweeney's character and the other Spider Girl, and then all of a sudden somebody's chasing them for some reason in the film. I didn't really know what was going on. It was just like a reason to throw an action piece together. Choppy editing, nothing flowed together. I didn't know what was going on half the time. They didn't even do a good job of explaining the spider people themselves, what happens to get these powers. Are they getting bit? Like, I don't understand. I didn't understand. It's just not a coherent movie, and not a well acted one either. Just Dakota Johnson's acting in this just stiff as a board, like we were talking about. Sydney Sweeney trying to play a teenager. I mean, no, just bad dialogue. Ugh, it's so painful to watch. This was one of the worst movies I've seen, in quite a long time. This was a really, really bad flop of a movie.
Yeah, this is like Sony trying to make its way into the MCU, and this has been, in the works for 4 years, and this is what we get. I mean, it looks like a lot of bad, reshoots and editing. Apparently, Dakota Johnson was saying this is, what she signed up for. The script that she read is not the final one in the final product here. So I don't know what the original script was. Maybe it was a hell of a lot better, but this movie seems like it was a mess, since the beginning all the way to the final product. And it shows with her character. I don't think I've seen Dakota Johnson in anything I've liked, like any role she's played. She's always kind of the stiff, awkward, not relatable person. And that's pretty much her character with Cassandra Webb. She's not likable. You can't connect with her. You don't care what she's going through. And she just all of a sudden had these powers. They could have dived into that more. I know in the comics, she's elderly, and there's a lot of cool scenes with her on life support in the comics. And it looked like a big web, and I've seen some pictures of it. And I really wish they kind of would have went that direction more of the comic space instead of a young paramedic for no apparent reason. So a lot of mistakes here and a lot of things that didn't make sense. And yeah, I don't see where they can connect this in the future. And hopefully they don't make a sequel. But as you were saying, Adam Scott, small part in the movie, and he was the best part. I liked him. I love him and everything. And he was funny, and he brought some energy and life to this where everybody else just felt flat, hollow, and unimpressive.
Yeah, this was just bad from the start. I wasn't even sure like who the main villain was. They just didn't do a good job of explaining anything really. I didn't know what was at stake here, why
Ezekiel
they were being
Sims.
came after. Yeah, I mean, just not good when you have more questions than answers by the end of the film, and you're looking at the time constantly wondering how much is left. And a hour and 50-minute film feels longer than Killers of the Flower Moon. It's bad and you're not enjoying your time. So yeah, I really don't have anything good to say about this movie. It's just disappointing in all levels. The filmmakers, I don't know what happened here, but yeah, the drama behind the scenes, whatever happened, the reshoots just didn't do it any favors, and I can't see this going anywhere. They just didn't execute well made movie here, unfortunately.
Yeah, there were a few redeeming qualities about it. The movie ended, so that's good. Finally. And Adam Scott was really great. The rest of the cast is pretty forgettable. I thought Isabella Merced and Celeste O'Connor were okay. Sydney Sweeney, not as good as she usually is, but I think it has to do with the writing. Dakota Johnson, just awful. And Ezekiel Sims played Tahar Rahim. He was forgettable too, a villain. But yeah, overall, just a total misfire, mess of a movie, just like a lot of people are saying out there. This is a movie, don't waste your money and see in the theater. If you want to watch it, maybe watch it on a streamer down the road when it hits if you're bored on a Sunday. But don't waste your money on this. Go see Lisa Frankenstein instead. That being said, I'm going to give Madame Web now spinning its way into cinemas. I'm going to give it a 1 out of 5 Dakota Johnson stiff-board acting hairpieces.
Yes, I'm going to give it the same exact score as you. Doesn't deserve any more. A 1 out of 5 Sydney Sweeney Spider Woman hair pieces.
Did you notice all the bad one-liners? I know there's a few that are going viral, like memes and stuff. I don't want to say them because some people may want to watch it, but oof,
Yeah.
that was so
Yeah.
so bad and so forced. So I want to hear from all you Spider-Man enthusiasts out there. What did you like about Madame Web? What didn't you like about it? Seriously, what didn't you like about it? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit subscribe. Also, check out these wild rascals on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and our website, Cinephellas.com, for the latest, greatest TV movie news and reviews.
Oh, yeah. And we're hitting this month off real wild like. We're spinning a web here at Cinephellas Studios. We are reviewing a bunch of TV shows and movies alike, both new and old. We just covered the Planet of the Apes trilogy in anticipation of the new Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And, we have a lot of movies to go here. And really, on March 1st, we're really looking forward to Dune 2. That movie just released, premiered, and it premiered to rave reviews. Everybody's raving about it, and it's even better than the first, and one of the better sci-fi movies. So can't wait for that one. This kind of kicks off like the big movies, I guess you could say. Although this one was a flop, of course, but we're happy to be able to go to the cinema, of course, and be able to, give you guys our review. We want to hear from you guys too. Please comment on our pages and make sure that you are subscribing to our YouTube channel. And we'll be back very soon with another all new Cinephellas movie review. So until the next time, I'm Uncle Henry Scott.
And I'm Uncle Logan Sweeney signing out until the next movie review.
Cheers!